M3GAN starts with a commercial for a furry toy called a Perpetual Pets. Not only can it talk back to you, it also has its own personality. It is all controlled via an app. It's the perfect friend for a child. Though on the face, this is a parody of a kid's commercial, remember it is sat in the middle of a horror film. So though the commercial is upbeat and colourful, the ad sets off with a pile of dirt heaped up on a perfect lawn and a wooden cross set at one end, whilst a cheerful song sings about having a dog who was her only friend, got old and died, so now she is all alone again. And the tagline for the Perpetual Pets, it's going to live longer than you. Anyway, Katie parents are driving up to the top of a snowy mountain. The road is slippery and they nearly lose control a couple of times. Katie is in the back seat. She is playing with the Perpetual Pets. It was a present from Gemma, her mum's sister, who works at the company that makes them. And as they ascend up the mountain, the weather worsens and they have to stop, as it's almost impossible to see where they're going anymore. Whilst the parents argue, the windscreen all of a sudden is filled with lights of an oncoming vehicle which hits them. Gemma and the Funky team are working on developing a follow-up toy to the Perpetual Pet. Covertly, though, they have also been working on a full-size doll called M3GAN. David, the company CEO, turns up unannounced to see the progress being made on the follow-up toy. He is unhappy to find out that they haven't been solely working on this project, especially as the competition have just released a cheaper option called the Fuzzies and is sold at half the price. Gemma argues it is better if their product is complex. Though more expensive, it is more difficult to replicate. Taking her opportunity to demonstrate M3GAN, she finds out her assistant has not set her up properly and its head explodes. Gemma is now under extreme pressure to deliver the follow-up product. It is only after David is gone that she notices the missed calls on her phone. She arrives at the hospital and is given temporary custody of Katie, her niece, who has lost both her parents in the accident. I guess at this point it's worth noting that Gemma doesn't react much to her sister's death. You can only think that they weren't very close, but surely they were closer than that. Anyway, Gemma is ill-equipped to look after the 8-year-old child. Well, in terms of her house and parenting skills. And this is awkwardly played out when she receives a home visit to assess her suitability to be a guardian. Under pressure to complete the follow-up project, Gemma loses track of time and Katie visits her in her study room. Whilst Gemma apologizes, Katie spots Bruce, which was Gemma's college project. By using electronic gloves, she is able to move Bruce around. Noticing it cheers Katie up, especially when she says, "If I had a toy like Bruce, I'd never need another toy again." So this inspires Gemma, and she completes the M3GAN project. In a surprise demonstration to David, the CEO, he watches on through a two-way mirror to see M3GAN being paired with Katie. They immediately become great friends and sit down to draw together. You can see that all the time M3GAN is watching Katie and finding out what makes her happy. And David, who was angry earlier, all of a sudden sees the potential in this. And to ensure that this relationship continues to grow, Gemma takes M3GAN home to spend more time with Katie. So what does Gemma list as M3GAN's qualities? Well, there's the constant quest of continuous improvement to reaffirm parents' instructions. M3GAN is able to keep the child occupied in many different ways and will never run out of patience. One of her colleagues does point out, though, that maybe M3GAN should support the parents, not replace them. I mean, what could go wrong? No parental controls, not fully tested. It creates its own protocols, and its primary goal is to protect Katie from harm, both physical and emotional. This film is a gentle exploration into the possible issues around the development of artificial intelligence, which is coming more and more an everyday occurrence. And maybe the dependency on the current generation's interactions to be via digital rather than face to face with groups of people. You could also consider the future usefulness of humankind itself. So, if you let it be, this film can be thought provoking. It does borrow from many references that we've seen before, but it certainly makes it its own rather than copying. I think that familiarity helps you become more absorbed in the film a lot quicker.